5:30, we're going to start the September the 5th meeting of the Paducah Planning Commission and URCDA. And I would ask you all to start off with joining me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Mr. Summers, would you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Benberry?
Here.
Commissioner Carmen?
Here.
Commissioner Griffin? Commissioner Kaler? Commissioner Morrison?
Here.
Commissioner Rhodes?
Here.
Chairman Wade?
Here. All right, we have the minutes from the August the 5th, 2024 meeting. And I believe, Commissioner Carmen, you have that motion.
Yes. I move that the reading of the minutes for August 5th, 2024 be waived, and that the minutes of said meeting as prepared by staff be approved as written.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Are there any additions, correction, or deletions to the minutes as published? Hearing none, Mr. Summers, would you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Carmen?
Aye.
Commissioner Morrison?
Aye.
Commissioner Rhodes?
Aye.
Commissioner Benberry?
Aye.
Chairman Wade?
Aye. All right, we have no new URCDA petitions. We do have a petition, or an item that is currently tabled generally regarding McGuire Avenue. I don't believe there's anything new on that, so that will remain until we convene again and see what's happening. Next up is 5065 Concord Avenue. Mr. Summers, would you start us off on that?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This property was obtained by the city back in 2013 to facilitate the building of New Hope Road. Some of you all on this commission, Mayor Kaler at the time, Commissioner Rhodes, is very, very familiar with the road that went through there and what transpired with these properties. After the city obtained both properties, the house did burn down at that point that was located on the lots. When New Hope Road was constructed, it split these two lots into a northern portion and a southern portion in the Kindred subdivision. And the southern portion is what we're looking at tonight, not the northern portion. The Kindred subdivision was platted in 1962, and there's a subdivision restriction on the plat that all lots have to be residential. So it's located in the Regional Trade Center, and it is across from New Hope Road, and on the other side of that is Kentucky Oaks Mall. Due to the subdivision restriction, the highest and best use of the lot would be multifamily. The maximum number could vary whenever you account for stormwater, parking, things of that nature. Not only would the residents there shop and eat in the Regional Trade Center, but it would provide for workforce housing in the Regional Trade Center. Excuse me, where the residents wouldn't have to theoretically go too far for jobs. It would all be contained in one smaller area. The zoning classification that touches the lot on the east is M1 Light Industrial, where the old Sears building was. And R4 zoning would create a transition point between the busy auto-centric mall area with all the restaurants, the shops, the movies, things like that, back into the more spacious single-family and two-family subdivision behind it. The City of Paducah Comprehensive Plan and the Board of Commissioners' priorities support residential development. A goal of the comprehensive plan is to ensure a wide range of community character types that provide attractive residential opportunities for a full range of lifestyles and incomes. And another goal is to increase the rate of population growth above those of projections and trends analysis. The Board of Commissioners' priorities includes both a priority for housing and for quality of life. Since the city needs housing of all types, this would be a convenient location for multifamily, and as I mentioned just a second ago, for that workforce housing for those residents there. Basically, the larger number of people will be able to access goods and services quicker and easier, which would reduce congestion on the streets. The purpose of the R4 zone is to provide that buffer, as mentioned earlier, between a high-density commercial area and a more rural, spacious residential area. So this would be keeping within the spirit and intent of the ordinance. In the findings of fact that I've got listed here, which will be read as part of the motion, I have the new alignment of Olivet Church Road. That should be the new alignment of New Hope Road. So it is correct on the motion in front of you, Mr. Chairman, but I did want to make that distinction in the staff report. So that concludes my report, Mr. Chairman, and I'll turn it back over to you for the public hearing.
Well, first off, we'll go ahead and do the motion, which I believe Commissioner Benberry has that.
Yes. I move that this commission recommend approval to the Board of Commissioners and adopt a resolution recommending approval thereof of the requested initial zoning of R4 high-density residential zone for property located at 5065 Concord Avenue. I further move this commission adopt the following findings of fact in support of said recommendation. 1, the new alignment of the New Hope Road provides a discernible boundary between commercial properties to the east and residential properties to the west. 2, a subdivision restriction is in place for the residential uses only. 3, this location would be a transition spot and a buffer between the autocentric characteristics of the regional trade center and the nearby single-family and two-family neighborhood of the Kindred subdivision. 4, the City of Paducah Comprehensive Plan supports both housing and housing choice and population growth. 5, 2 priorities of the Board of Commissioners are both housing and quality of life. And 6, the spirit and intent of the R4 zone would be fulfilled by providing a buffer between commercial use and a low-density housing.
Okay, we have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Before we enter into the public hearing, do any of the commissioners have any questions of staff regarding this matter? All right, hearing none, we'll open a public hearing and ask anyone from the public who wishes to comment positively or negatively, or just questions in general, to come to the podium, identify yourself with your name and address, and please speak.
How we doing? My name's Ian Reed. I live on 3330 Fairlane Avenue in the Kindred subdivision. Couple questions. Are we doing this just to try to entice a developer to come in here, or are there already is there some plans already, or do we already have a developer in mind for something, the high-density residential area?
We don't have a developer in mind yet. The goal is to release an RFP, request for proposals,
Sure.
to a developer to get their idea of what the highest and best use of the lot would be. Since this particular lot has that subdivision restriction of just residential only, it could be single-family, two-family, multifamily. We're just going to let them tell us what
Sure.
their vision is.
The other question I had is in regards to the road where New Holt runs through. There are actually 2 roads that dead end now, which did not, before the road was there, they were complete. Are there any plans to bring that through to Holt Road? I would be personally against that, because currently what we have is an enclosed, neighborhood, which would then become a cut through, which for a lot of traffic to come through, which.
There's no plans on our end for that. We would have to review it if a developer proposed that to happen.
Sure.
Not only would they have to get an approved site plan, but they would have to get approval from the state as well.
Sure.
From my initial conversations with the chief district engineer, Kyle Pote, a curb cut will not be allowed onto the subject property.
Sure.
So I don't know if opening a road will be a solution or not, or if there's a way to contain that at the end of the property line. That's just something we would have to review once we receive a site plan.
Okay, perfect. That's all I had.
Thank you. This is a unique situation since the city is the petitioner on this. Yes,
Good
sir.
evening. I'm going to try to do the best I can. Been up since 2:30 working on this. Chairman Wade, Mr. Summers, and the planning board. And if my head gets to really shaking, don't worry about it. It's done it my whole life.
Can we
But,
get you to identify yourself?
oh, I'm sorry.
Please, thank you.
Scotty Ray and my wife Sandra, and we live at 5101 Concord Avenue in the Kendron subdivision. We bought this house in 2017. The land that's being rezoned was not being mowed. Sandra and I decided that we'd try to buy this property. So I started mowing it, so it wouldn't grow up and look terrible. I mowed it for 3 years without any compensation, just to keep it looking nice. Also cleaned up a lot of brush and dead limbs. Also mow where the road dead ends that goes out to New Hope. I've mowed that for 7 years. I weed eat it. I just try to make things look nice, you know. We have been trying to buy this land for 7 years. I don't know why we can't buy it, but talk with different ones. I've had promises. I've had appointments to be canceled within 5 minutes of when we were going to meet with them, but that's all behind. We got to look forward. And this is what I say. It's R1. It is a residential. It's very nice. We have people that walk every day around it. Some even come from other neighborhoods to walk around it. There's no dogs that run out to bite you. And with this list of all the stuff that can be built on it, if it's changed to R4, which this board might say, well, we're not going to let that happen, but this board might not be there one of these days. I'm just saying things change. The next person says, well, it's R4, I can build you know what all it says can be built there. All right. So I say, I would like to see some houses there, but maybe duplex, nice duplexes. I think 3 of them could be built on that land, and it wouldn't even have to be changed. Or change it to R2, and those housings can be built. But this is what I see. I see what's right up the road, right behind Sam's, 2-story buildings. I don't know how long it's been there, but you can drive and look, it looks like a junkyard there already. Because people don't, after 1 or 2 years, then they just forget about it. And people start doing what they want to. So that's my proposal, and whatever needs to be done, I think it's great. And I'd be in favor of it. If it's a tall building, I wouldn't like it. But if that's what needs to be done, I say the best. But I wish it'd stay a R1 or R2. It could be changed to R2 and could be more family, but I can see what I read on the internet this morning at 2:30, it could be a flat top, 3 or 4 story tall, right?
It depends on what a developer.
Well, it said that if it's 1,000 meters, square meters, which you can put 4 of them on an acre, and there's a little over 2 acres, it says you can build a 3-story flat top apartment on 1,000 square meters. They use meters, and I figured that out. It's about 4 of them on an acre. So you could build 4 of them buildings, basically. But anyway, whatever it is, and I thank y'all and appreciate whatever you can do.
Thank you for your comment. Now, as I understand it, before I respond to him, it is still in temporary zoning through its annexation.
Yes.
So we have to decide on some kind of zoning,
Right.
and given the deed restrictions, it would need to have an R in front of it.
That is correct. And also, to make a clarification to Mr. Ray's point as well, the calculation for multifamily is 1 unit per every 2,000 square feet is what the zoning ordinance uses.
Anyone else? If not, we'll consider the public hearing closed. All right. Is there any other discussion based on what has been heard?
Something I would like to know, and it just may be premature, you may have to wait until there's a plan put forward for building something on this property, but are there any statutes about sidewalks when you do a development now? Because sometimes they're, like Strawberry Hill, all that was built without sidewalks.
There is in the subdivision restrictions for each individual commercial development or multifamily or a development on a single lot. It's really site-specific on if there's sidewalks on either side to connect to. So, Commissioner Kaler, to answer your question, it's going to depend on.
Because the point, you're making with all this to us is that this property can be developed, and the advantage to it is that it's close proximity to the shopping,
Yeah.
eating, and all of that, which people need to walk there, not out in the road.
Yeah. I'm trying to recall if there's sidewalks there now. If there is, I would gravitate toward a sidewalk being required. But I would have to look at the site to know for sure if there is one there, because I don't remember it off the top of my head.
Is that something we vote on, or is it something that's just in the development?
It would just be in the development.
And more than likely in consideration with the state that governs New Holt Road to determine where a crosswalk might go.
It does not look like there's one there now.
It's on Holt. Yeah.
On Holt Road.
Holt Road, there
Okay.
is sidewalk.
Okay, that's right. It is right behind the property line. Okay, it looks like there is one existing.
No road, is it a new one, was built when the road went through?
Yeah,
Yeah, usually the state requires.
yeah.
That's
Just
a,
on one side, the far side of New Holt, there's not sidewalks.
that's a good detail to take into consideration. Any other questions, comments, concerns? Hearing none, Mr. Summers, would you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Benberry,
Yes.
Commissioner Carmen,
Yes.
Commissioner Kaler,
Aye.
Commissioner Morrison. Aye. Commissioner Rhodes,
Aye.
Chairman Wade.
Aye. All right, that concludes our agenda items. With no other business, I will announce that our next meeting will be October the 7th, 2024, and at 5:50, our meeting is adjourned.